So I've been climbing a lot in North America. I had a couple of trips down to South America and did some peaks down there. But I really was dreaming about going to the Himalayas and going to the big mountains. And I was living in Bishop at the time, and I got a job working in June Lake, where I was working as a mason. I was building out in a really beautiful house a custom fireplace and a custom wall for a guy. And he ended up becoming a really good friend of mine. His name was Rod. He's from South Carolina, really good guy. And as a matter of fact, the commute from Bishop to June Lake in the winter was kind of problematic when it snowed especially. And so the guy, we were building the house, he just said, look, I'm staying here, you're staying, why don't you just stay here too? So he opened up his house to me, and I brought with me some books that I could read. And one of the books was this book called Himalayan Alpine Style. And that book's really been well paged through. It's got, it looks like it's been through the ringer because I've looked at it probably more than any other book in my life. And he saw me reading it one day and he said, why don't you go, he asked me what I was reading, and I was talking to him about the big mountains in the world and showed him some pictures of some of the Himalayan mountains, and it would be my dream to go over there. And he said, why don't you just go? And I said, because it's so expensive, I can't afford it. And he said, I'll tell you what, if you finish this job by this amount of time, and it was a big job, but he said, if you finish it by this amount of time, I'll pay for your trip over there. And that's what happened. I worked my ass off, worked really hard, worked day and night actually. He'd bring me up dinner sometimes. And this guy Rod really saw my first Himalayan expedition come to fruition. And one of the things about high altitude that you can't know is how your body physiologically performs at altitude. Some people acclimate really well, some people don't acclimate at all. And that's the one question. You could train your ass off, you could be in the best shape in the world, and then get at really high altitude and really have it kick your ass. You really can never know. But because Rod inspired me to go and facilitated me to go by this job, I found myself at the end of that year on Broad Peak in Pakistan by myself, but there were some other people on the mountain that were well-known climbers, and there I was climbing beside these people that I've been reading about. And over the next few weeks, I discovered that not only was I a good athlete, but I could really do well and excel on the mountains. These guys that I had been reading about in magazines and looked at, here I was on the same mountain with them, and I was in fact climbing even stronger than them, breaking trail a lot of the time and garnering their respect. And from then on, my high altitude career took off, and it was really jump-started in my life that moment through a rock wall in June Lake and a guy named Rod.